Hello students, how are you all? In last class you learned law of chemical equilibrium and equilibrium constant. The today's topic is types of chemical equilibria. The chemical equilibrium classified into two types. They are, the first one is homogeneous equilibrium and the second one is heterogeneous equilibrium. The first one is homogeneous equilibrium. Homogeneous equilibrium, and the second one is heterogeneous equilibrium. Heterogeneous equilibrium. Now let us discuss one by one in detail. Among them, the first one is homogeneous equilibrium. Now let us understand homogeneous equilibrium by taking an example. I am taking a reversible chemical reaction, SO2 plus O2 gives rise to SO3. So we have to balance it. This is 2SO2 to SO3. So here SO2 is a gas, O2 is a gas, and SO3 is a gas. So if you look at this reaction, what we find out is all the reactants are in a gas phase, products also in a gas phase. All the reactants and products in the same phase. If all the reactants and products are in the same phase, the equilibrium is called as homogeneous equilibrium. All the reactants and products are in the same phase. In homogeneous system, all the reactants and products are in the same phase. So all the reactants and products are in the same phase. The equilibrium is called as a homogeneous equilibrium. Let us take some more example. I am taking N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to 2NH3. Look at this equation. Here nitrogen is a gas. Here hydrogen is a gas, and ammonia is a gas. So look at all the reactants and product are in gas phase, nothing but same phase. So all the reactants and products are in the same phase. We have to call them as the equilibrium is called as a homogeneous equilibrium. Let us take one more example. I am taking CH3 COO C2H5 in aqueous plus water. It is liquid, gives rise to COOH, CH3 COOH. This is aqueous plus C2H5OH. It is aqueous. If you look at this equation, all the reactants and products are in same phase. So all the reactants and products in the same phase, the equilibrium is called as a homogeneous equilibrium. Let us take one more example. I am taking PCl5. PCl5 is a gas, gives rise to PCl3 is a gas plus Cl2 is a gas. So this is also an example of a homogeneous equilibrium. All the reactants and products are in the same phase. Let us take one more example. H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2HI. So H2 is a gas, I2 is a gas, and HI is a gas. So all the reactants and products in the gas phase, nothing but the same phase. If all the reactants and products are in the same phase, the equilibrium is called as a homogeneous equilibrium. So this is a homogeneous equilibrium. Next, equilibrium constant in gaseous system. Let us consider a general reversible reaction. A moles of A plus B moles of B gives rise to C moles of C plus D moles of D. It is a general reversible reaction. Here reactants are in gaseous state, all the reactants are gaseous state, and all the products are in a gaseous state. All the reactants products in a gaseous state. So for this equation we have to write equilibrium constant Kc. So Kc is equal to the product of concentrations of products by the product of concentrations of reactants. So the product of concentrations of products is C concentration power C and D concentration power D divided by A concentration power A and B concentration power B. So here Kc is equal to equilibrium constant with respect to molar concentration. Kc is equal to equilibrium constant with respect to molar concentration. With respect to molar concentration. For the same general reversible reaction, we have to write Kp, equilibrium constant with respect to partial pressure. Kp is equal to products by reactants. Partial pressure of C, its stoichiometric coefficient C, into partial pressure of D, power its stoichiometric coefficient D by partial pressure of A, its stoichiometric power its stoichiometric coefficient A and partial pressure of B and its stoichiometric coefficient B. So here Kp is the equilibrium constant with respect to partial pressure. Here equilibrium constant with respect to concentration, molar concentration. Here Kp is the equilibrium constant with respect to partial pressure. Kp is equal to equilibrium constant with respect to partial pressure. Kp is equal to equilibrium constant with respect to partial pressure. Kc is equal to equilibrium constant with respect to molar concentration. Now we have to derive the relationship between the Kp and the Kc. Next, relationship between Kp and Kc. Relationship between Kp and Kc. So again we have to take a general reversible reaction. A moles of A plus B moles of B gives rise to C moles of C plus D moles of D. So first we have to write Kc for this. Kc is equal to C concentration power C, D concentration power D by concentration power A and B concentration power B. This equation I am labeling as 1. This is the first equation. And in terms of partial pressure, Kp is equal to partial pressure of C and partial pressure of D by partial pressure of A and partial pressure of B. So this equation I am labeling as 2. So according to ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT. PV is equal to nRT. So here we have to find partial pressures. P is equal to N by V into RT. So P is equal to N by V into RT, where C is equal to N by V. Concentration is equal to N by V. In the place of N by V, we have to place concentration. Then P is equal to CRT. Here C is the concentration, right? So here we have to apply this P is equal to CRT to all the reactants and the product. So I am taking first reactant A. So partial pressure of A is equal to concentration of A into RT, isn't it? Then partial pressure of B. Then partial pressure of B is equal to concentration of B into RT, isn't it? Then partial pressure of C. Partial pressure of C is equal to CRT, concentration of C into RT, isn't it? Then partial pressure of D is equal to concentration of D into RT, isn't it? Then all the partial pressure PA, PB, PC and PD we have to substitute in a second equation. So substitute PA, PB, PC and PD in equation 2, in second equation and in second equation. Then what we are going to get is Kp is equal to PC, nothing but what we have to write C concentration power C into RT concentration RT power C. So PC power C. Next PD power D. So we have to PD, nothing but we have to D concentration into RT. So D concentration power D RT power D by, isn't it? Then what we have is a PA. PA is nothing but here is A concentration power A and RT power A. And next what we have is PB. PB is nothing but we have to take a B concentration power B concentration power B, RT power B, isn't it? Next that is equal to, I'm separating the concentration terms. So C concentration power C, D concentration power D. This is the concentration, this is the concentration, by A concentration power A and B concentration power B. B concentration power B. And here is RT power, here is C plus D, I am taking RT power C plus D by RT power A plus B, isn't it? Then that is equal to C concentration power C concentration power C, B concentration D concentration D by A concentration power A and B concentration power B is nothing but equation number 1, nothing but Kc. Then Kp is equal to Kc. Kp is equal to Kc into, so RT power, so I am transposing A plus B towards numerator, will get C plus D minus A plus B, isn't it? So Kp is equal to Kc. Kp is equal to Kc into RT power delta En. RT power delta N. So this delta N is nothing but C plus D minus A plus B. In the place of C plus D minus A plus B, I took delta N. So this delta N is nothing but number of moles of gaseous products minus number of moles of gaseous reactants. So delta N is equal to number of moles of gaseous products minus number of moles of gaseous reactants. Number of moles of gaseous reactants. So this is the relationship between the Kp and Kc. Kp is equal to Kc into RT power delta N. Kp is equal to Kc into RT power delta N. Here we have three conditions. Condition number 1. Condition, three cases. Case number 1. If delta N is equal to 0, first case. Delta N is equal to 0. Then what we have is Kp is equal to Kc into RT power 0. Delta N is equal to RT power will become 0, isn't it? RT power will become 0. Then RT power something power 0 is equal to 1. Then Kp is equal to Kc. Kp is equal to Kc. This is the first case. Case number 1, if delta N is equal to 0. So number of moles of gaseous products minus number of moles of gaseous reactant. So number of moles of products minus number of moles of reactant is equal to 0. That means delta N is equal to 0. Delta N is equal to 0, then Kp is equal to Kc. This is the first case. Next, second case. Delta N is equal to positive. Delta N is equal to positive. That means number of moles of gaseous products is greater than the number of moles of gaseous reactants. So products is number of moles of products is greater than the number of moles of reactants. Then delta N is equal to positive. So delta N is equal to positive in the sense Kp is equal to Kc into RT power delta N. Delta N is the positive value. So that we will get Kp is greater than Kc. This is the second case. Kp is greater than Kc. Next, third case. Delta N is in negative, delta n is negative. So how to get delta n is negative? Number of moles of gaseous products is less than the number of moles of gaseous reactants. Reactants is more, number of moles of reactants is more, number of moles of products is less. Then we'll get delta n is equal to negative. Then Kp is equal to Kc into RT power delta n. Here delta n is negative. Then we'll get Kp is less than Kc. This is the third case. So delta n is equal to 0, Kp is equal to Kc. Delta n is positive, Kp is greater than the Kc. Delta n is negative, Kp is less than Kc. This is the three conditions. So this is the relationship between the Kp and Kc. Next, Kp Kc relation for some chemical reactions. Example I am taking the first one, H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2Hi. All are gases. Right, we have the formula Kp is equal to Kc into RT power delta n. Kp is equal to Kc into RT power delta n. So where delta n is equal to number of moles of gaseous products minus number of moles of gaseous reactant. Number of moles of gaseous products how many is 2. 2 minus number of moles of gaseous reactant, this is 1 and this is another one, 2. So 2 minus 2, that is equal to 0. So delta n is equal to 0. Then Kp is equal to Kc into RT power, we can take as 0. Then Kp is equal to Kc. So for this equation, Kp is equal to Kc. Let us take one more example. I am taking a PCl5. PCl5 gives rise to PCl3 plus Cl2. PCl3 plus Cl2. So all these are gases. Then we have the formula Kp is equal to Kc into RT power delta n. So here delta n, number of moles of gaseous products. Number of moles of products is greater than the number of moles of reactants. So here is products, how many is there? 2. 2 minus reactants is how many is there? 1. So 2 minus 1, that is equal to 1. So delta n is equal to positive. Then Kp is equal to Kc into RT power 1. Nothing but Kp is equal to Kc into RT. So delta n is positive. Delta n is positive in the sense Kp is greater than Kc. Kp is greater than Kc, isn't it? Next, another example I am taking 2SO2 plus O2 gives rise to 2SO3. So in this case, all the reactants and products are in gaseous state, isn't it? Then Kp is equal to Kc into RT power delta n, isn't it? Then delta n is equal to number of moles of gaseous products, how many is there? 2. 2 minus number of moles of gaseous reactant, 2 plus 1, 3. That is equal to minus 1. Delta n is negative. So Kp is equal to Kc into RT power, we can take minus 1. So here is delta n is negative, Kp is less than Kc. So here I took one example is delta n is equal to 0. Delta n is equal to 0, one example I took. Here delta n is positive. Second example I took delta n is equal to positive. And the third example I took delta n is equal to negative. So delta n is equal to 0, Kp is equal to Kc. Delta n is positive, Kp is greater than Kc. Delta n is negative, Kp is less than Kc. So these are the some example for relationship between the Kp and Kc. Next, heterogeneous equilibrium. Let us understand heterogeneous equilibrium by taking an example. I am taking CaCO3 gives rise to CaO plus CO2. So here CaCO3 is a solid and CaO is a solid, CO2 is a gas. This is in a closed vessel. The reaction carried out in a closed vessel. So CaCO3 gives rise to CaO plus CO2. If you look at this equation, what we find is the reactants and products are not in the same phase. The reactants and products are not in the same phase. We have to, the equilibrium is called as heterogeneous equilibrium. So the reactants The reactants and products. The reactants and products are in more than one phase. More than one phase. So the reactants products are not in same phase. Otherwise, the reactants and products are not in same phase. Equilibrium is called as a heterogeneous equilibrium. Let's take one more example. I'm taking Ni solid plus 4CO. This is a gas. Gives rise to NiCO taken 4 times. So this is a gas. So let's take one more example. I'm taking Ag2O. It is a solid plus HNO3. This is a aqueous. Gives rise to AgNO3. This is aqueous plus H2O liquid. This is 2HNO3. This is 2AgNO3. So here look at these equations. The reactant here is solid, gas and gas. So reactants and products are not in the same phase. So reactants and products are not in the same phase. The equilibrium is called as a heterogeneous equilibrium. Heterogeneous equilibrium. Next, let us write the equilibrium constant for these equations. First, I am taking CaCO3 gives rise to CaO plus CO2. Equilibrium constant. Equilibrium constant for heterogeneous equilibrium. Equilibrium constant for heterogeneous equilibrium. First, I am taking CaCO3 gives rise to CaO plus CO2. So CaCO3 solid gives rise to CaO solid plus CO2 gas. Right? Kc is equal to, so product of concentrations of products by product of concentrations of reactants. Then CaO, this is what? Solid. And this is CO2 gas. CO2 is gas. Then CaCO3 is a solid. So here the molar concentration of pure solid and pure liquid is constant. The molar concentration of pure solid and pure liquid is constant. So whenever the solid and liquid is a pure form, we have to neglect them. Then Kc is equal to CO2. This is gases. So this is the equilibrium constant for CaCO3 gives rise to CaO plus CO2. Here we have to neglect CaO and CaCO3 because both are solid. Pure solid and pure liquid, the molar concentration is taken as a constant. Let us take this equation. I am taking the second one. The second equation, Ni solid plus 4CO gas gives rise to NiCO taken 4 times is a gas. Right? Then Kc, directly I am writing Kc is equal to the molar concentrations of products. NiCO taken 4 times, it is a gas, by Ni solid and CO taken 4 times. So this is what? Solid. So this is CO is gas. It is a gas. So Ni is a solid. We can neglect them. Then Kc is equal to NiCO taken 4 times by CO taken 4. These two are the gases. So this is the equilibrium constant for this equation. So here what I did is I neglected the Ni because Ni is a solid. Let's write for this equation equilibrium constant for Ag2O. Ag2O plus 2HNO3. Ag2O plus 2HNO3 gives rise to 2AgNO3. 2AgNO3 plus we can take H2O. plus H2. So this is the solid. HNO3 is aqueous in water, AgNO3 is in aqueous, H2O is a liquid. So for equilibrium constant for this case is Kc is equal to, here is AgNO3. AgNO3 concentration power we have to take 2, and H2O we have to neglect because H2 is a pure liquid, we have to neglect it. Then Ag2O is a, sorry, first I am writing, then we will, H2O is liquid, this is aqueous, then Ag2O, this is what? Solid, HNO3, this is aqueous, power 2, isn't it? Then Kc is equal to pure solid, AgNO3 is a pure solid, Ag2 is a pure solid, and H2O is a pure liquid, so we can neglect them. Then the equation is AgNO3 aqueous taken power 2 by HNO3. This is also aqueous, concentration power 2. Kc is equal to. So this is the equilibrium constant for this equation. Kc is equal to AgNO3 concentration power 2 by HNO3 concentration power 2. So this is the heterogeneous equilibrium. Next, applications of equilibrium constant. In that first one, predicting the extent of a reaction. The numerical value of equilibrium constant indicates the extent of a reaction. Let us take an examples. Suppose first condition I am taking, if Kc is greater than 10 power 3. First condition I am taking, if Kc is greater than 10 power 3. The Kc is greater than 10 power 3, that means Kc is extremely large. So Kc is extremely large, the products predominates over reactants. Kc is greater than 10 power 3, the products predominate over reactants. Let us take an example. I am taking a H2 plus Cl2 gives rise to 2HCl. All are gases. So this reaction at 300 Kelvin. At 300 Kelvin. The Kc for this reaction is equal to, Kc is equal to 4 into 10 power 31. So Kc is equal to 4 into 10 power 31. Kc is very large. So Kc is very large indicates that the products predominate over reactants. This is the first one. And second I am taking if Kc is less than 10 power minus 3. Kc is less than 10 power minus 3. That means negligible. So reaction is hardly to proceed. If Kc is less than 10 power minus 3, the reactants predominate over products. So let us take an example. I am taking N2 plus O2, gas plus this is also gas, gives rise to 2NO. This is also a gas at 298 Kelvin. Temperature is 298 Kelvin. For this case, Kc is equal to 4.8 into 10 power minus 31. So Kc is equal to 4.8 into 10 power minus 31. So Kc is negligible, very small. So Kc is very small in the sense if less than 10 power minus 3, the reactants predominate over products. So reactions hardly to proceed. And third, if Kc is in the range 10 power minus 3 to 10 power 3. So in the range of 10 power minus 3 to 10 power 3. So 10 power minus 3 to 10 power 3 between the value. So appreciable concentration of both reactants and products. So both reactants and products will be present. That means the reaction is at equilibrium. So appreciable concentration of both reactants product between the 10 power minus 3 to 10 power 3, both reactant products present at equilibrium. Both reactants is there and products is there at equilibrium. So if the Kc is in the range of 10 power minus 3 to 10 power 3, appreciable concentration of both reactants and products. Example, I am taking H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2Hi. All are gases. So this is the reaction at 700 Kelvin. At 700 Kelvin. 700 Kelvin. The Kc value, Kc is equal to 57. Kc is equal to 57. It is between the 10 power minus 3 and 10 power 3. So Kc is equal to 57. It is at the reaction is at equilibrium. So three cases. The Kc is negligible. Kc is negligible. Negligible in the sense Kc is less than 10 power minus 3. Reactants predominate over the products. So reactions hardly to proceed. Next, if the Kc is greater than 10 power 3, products predominate over reactants. That means Kc is extremely large. Reaction proceeds almost completion. Reaction almost to proceed completion. So this is an example. And third one is Kc is in the range of 10 power minus 3 to 10 power 3. The appreciable concentration of both reactants and products are present. So reaction is H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2Hi. So Kc is equal to 57. So this is predicting the extent of reaction. The numerical value of Kc indicates the extent of a reaction. Next, predicting the direction of reaction. This is the second application. Let us understand the predicting the direction of reaction by taking an example. I am taking a general reversible reaction. A moles of A plus B moles of B gives rise to C moles of C plus D moles of D. So for this case we have to write Kc. Kc is equal to the product of concentrations of products by product of concentrations of reactants. So C concentration power C, D concentration power D by A concentration power A and B concentration power B. So for the same equation we have to write reaction quotient Qc. So reaction quotient we have to write the similar way as equilibrium constant Kc. So Qc is equal to the product of concentration of products by the product of concentrations of reactants. So C concentration power C, D concentration power D by A concentration power A and B concentration power B. Now one question is arises, then what is the difference between the equilibrium constant and reaction quotient? Here Qc is the reaction quotient. So what is the difference between the equilibrium constant and the reaction quotient? So here Kc can be calculated at equilibrium stage, but Qc can be calculated at any stage of reaction. That is the difference. Kc can be calculated at equilibrium. At equilibrium stage, and Qc can be calculated at any stage of reaction. Any stage of reaction. So that is the difference between the Qc and Kc. So representation remains same, Qc and Kc. Writing the for a given equation, we have to write the Kc and Qc same way. But Kc can be calculated at equilibrium stage, but Qc can be calculated at any stage of reaction. So here are three conditions. The first one. So here predicting the direction of reaction. If Qc is greater than Kc. Qc is greater than Kc. The reaction proceeds in the direction of proceeds in the direction of reactants. In the direction of reactants. Nothing but a reverse reaction. Reverse reaction. Nothing but reactants and products. Reactants and products, reverse reaction will be takes place. So Qc is greater than Kc, the reaction proceeds in the direction of reactants. So products converting into reactants, reverse reaction will takes place. So the second one, if QC is less than Kc. QC is less than Kc. The reaction proceeds in the direction of products. Reaction proceeds in the direction of products. So here is forward reaction. That means reactants gives rise to products. This is the second one. Third one, if QC is equal to Kc, then the products and reactants are at equilibrium. The products and reactants at equilibrium. The mixture of reactant products at equilibrium. So this is predicting the direction of reaction. Next, third application, calculating equilibrium concentrations. Now let us understand calculating equilibrium concentrations by taking a general example. I am taking a general example. A plus B gives rise to 2C. I took a general example. So first we have to write initial number of moles. So initial number of moles for this case I am labeling as A, and its initial number of moles I am labeling as B. So reaction is not started, only reactants is there, no products is there. So initial number of moles I am labeling as 0. So reaction is not started. So initially only reactants is there. So reactant number, A reactant number of moles is A, and B reactant number of moles is B, and reactant product number of moles is 0 initially. And number of moles at equilibrium. That means some reactants are converting into products. So here some amount of reactant converting into product. I am labeling it as X. Some reactant converting, B reactant converting into product. This is B minus X. This will be 2X. Next, concentration at equilibrium. Concentration at equilibrium. So concentration is equal to number of moles by volume. So A minus X by V. This is B minus X by V. This is 2X by V. Already we know very well that number of moles is equal to N by V. Number of moles is equal to N by V, A minus X by V, B minus X by V, and 2X by V. So we have to write equilibrium constant. Equilibrium constant Kc is equal to concentrations of products by concentrations of reactants. What is the products we have? C concentration power 2 by reactants. What do you have? A concentration and B concentration. Isn't it? A concentration and B concentration. Then Kc is equal to C concentration power 2. What we have to write? 2x by V power 2. Isn't it? By. So A minus X by V, and this is A minus X by V. Isn't it? Then Kc is equal to, so here we cancel, and the remaining what we have is 2x by 2x nothing but 4x square. 4x square by A minus X into B minus X. Isn't it? A minus X into B minus X. Here A is equal to B is equal to 1. Imagine. So initial number of moles, this is 1 mole and this is also 1 mole. A is equal to B is equal to 1 mole. Then equation Kc is equal to 4x square by 1 minus X square. So x square by 4x square by 1 minus x square. This is the equilibrium constant Kc in terms of concentration. Next, let us discuss in terms of partial pressures. So same equation I am taking. A plus B gives rise to 2C. So this is in terms of concentration, we are in terms of partial pressures. So here initial number of moles. Initial number of moles. Initial number of moles I am labeling as A. So the initial number of moles B, this will be taken as 0. Reaction is not started. So only reactants is left. So next number of moles at equilibrium. Number of moles at second one at equilibrium. Number of moles at equilibrium. So some reactants converting into products. So this I am labeling as A minus X. This will be B minus X. This is 2X, isn't it? Then total number of moles. Total number of moles. Total number of moles. How do you get total number of moles is equal to, how do you get A minus X plus B minus X plus 2X. Isn't it? Then we'll get A plus X. Sorry, A plus B. The total number of moles is equal to A plus B. Total number of moles is equal to A plus B. And for this case, first we have to write Kp, equilibrium constant in terms of with respect to the partial pressures. Kp is equal to partial pressure of C, its stoichiometric coefficient O2 by partial pressure of A and partial pressure of B, isn't it? Partial pressure of A and partial pressure of B. So here is we have to find out partial pressure. So partial pressure Pi is equal to Xi mole fraction into P total. We know the formula according to Dalton's law of partial pressure. So partial pressure of C. Then partial pressure of C is equal to mole fraction of C. So how do you get the mole fraction of C? Number of moles of C by total number of moles of the mixture. So number of moles of C, how much is there? 2x. So 2x by total number of moles, how much you got? A plus B. A plus B into P total. This is the partial pressure of C. Next, partial pressure of A. Partial pressure of A is equal to number of moles of A. How many is there? A minus X. A minus X by A plus B into P total. And partial pressure of B is equal to B minus X. B minus X by A plus B into P total, isn't it? So I find partial pressure of A, B and C. So substitute all these values in a given equation, this equation. Then we'll get Kp is equal to 2x. 2x by A plus B P total power 2. This is Kp by what we have is partial pressure of A. What we have? A minus X by A plus B into P total, and B minus X by A plus B into P total, isn't it? So upon simplification, Kp is equal to 4x square by A minus X, B minus X will get A minus X and B minus X. If A is equal to 1, A is equal to B is equal to 1, initial number of moles is 1 I took, suppose, then Kp is equal to 4x square by 1 minus x square. So this is the equation we got if initial number of moles is 1. So in terms of concentration, case is 4x square by 1 minus x square. In terms of partial pressure, equilibrium constant Kp, nothing but in terms of with respect to the partial pressure. Equilibrium constant with respect to partial pressure. This is equilibrium constant with respect to molar concentration. So answers we got the same, 4x square by 1 minus x square, 4x square by 1 minus x square. So this is the method to calculating equilibrium concentrations. Next, relationship between equilibrium constant K, reaction quotient Q and Gibbs energy G. So we know very well that delta G, Gibbs energy delta G is positive. Delta G is equal to positive. The reaction is non-spontaneous. The reaction is non-spontaneous. The reaction is non-spontaneous. If delta G is equal to negative, delta G is negative, the reaction is spontaneous. The reaction is spontaneous. The reaction is spontaneous. If delta G is equal to 0, third case, delta G is positive, delta G is negative, delta G is equal to 0, the reaction at equilibrium. Reaction at equilibrium. The reaction is at equilibrium. So let us derive the relationship between the equilibrium constant K and Gibbs energy. So I am taking delta G is equal to delta G standard condition plus RT ln Q. RT ln Q. So the reaction is at equilibrium. At equilibrium. The reaction at equilibrium, then delta G is equal to 0. Delta G is reaction at equilibrium, delta G is equal to 0. And Q is equal to K. Q is equal to K, equilibrium constant. So reaction quotient is equal to K. At equilibrium, QC is equal to K. We know very well that. Then substitute these. Delta G is equal to 0 is equal to delta G standard condition plus RT ln. Q will become K. Q is equal to K. Then delta G standard condition is equal to minus RT ln K. Isn't it? Then ln K. ln K is equal to minus delta G standard condition by RT. Then K is equal to e power minus delta G standard condition by RT. So this is the relationship between the K and the delta G. Relation between the equilibrium constant K, reaction quotient Q and Gibbs energy G. Next, factors affecting equilibria. So according to Le Chatelier principle, it states that change in any factor that govern the equilibrium condition of a system will cause the system to change in such a manner so as to reduce or counteract the effect of the change. The simple meaning is if the reaction is at equilibrium position, if the chemical reaction is at equilibrium position, if the reaction is subjected to a change in temperature, pressure, concentration, etc., the position of equilibrium shifted to the side where the change is reduced. This is the simple meaning of Le Chatelier principle. So there are different factors which affect the equilibrium. The first one is effect of concentration change. Concentration change. First one, effect of concentration change. The second one is effect of pressure change. Effect of pressure change. Third one is effect of temperature change. Effect of temperature change. And the fourth one is effect of addition of effect of inert gas addition. Effect of inert gas addition or effect of inert gas addition. Effect of addition of inert gas also can take. The fifth one is effect of catalyst. Effect of catalyst. So these are the different factors which affect the equilibria. Effect of concentration change, effect of pressure change, effect of temperature change, effect of inert gas addition and effect of catalyst. Now let us discuss one by one in detail. Next, factors affecting equilibria. In that first one, effect of concentration change. Let us understand the effect of concentration change by taking an example. I am taking H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2HI. So all are the gases, right? So here the equilibrium position can be shifted towards forward direction in two different ways: by increasing the concentrations of reactants or by decreasing the concentrations of products. First case, I am increasing the concentration of H2 or I2, or together I am increasing the concentration of H2 and I2. Concentrations of reactants are increases. Concentrations of reactants increases, the forward reaction will be taking place. Equilibrium shift towards the forward direction. So this is the first case. Increasing concentration of increasing concentration of reactants. increasing concentration of reactants. Otherwise, we can move the reaction towards forward direction by decreasing the concentration of product. If the concentration of products decreases, the reaction moves towards a forward direction. Decreasing concentration of products. Decreasing concentration of products. These two cases. So this is the first one. I'm taking this is the second one. These two cases, the reaction moves towards a forward direction. Forward reaction. So equilibrium shift towards the forward direction. Nothing but a forward reaction. So simply we are moving a reaction towards a forward direction. Second case, if you want to make the reversion backward direction or backward reaction, so what we have to do is we have to increase the concentration of product. Product concentration we have to increase and we have to decrease the concentrations of reactants. So here the first case, backward reaction, increasing concentration of products. Increasing concentration of products, or in another way, decreasing concentration of reactants. Decreasing concentration of reactant, these two cases, the reaction moves towards backward reaction. Backward reaction, or nothing but reverse reaction. Reverse reaction. So increasing the concentration of reactants or decreasing the concentration of product to forward reaction, or increasing the concentrations of products or decreasing the concentration of reactants, so reaction is backward. So this is the effect of concentration change. Next, effect of pressure change. This is the second one. So in the two different cases. First case, the pressure is increases. Increase of pressure. Increase of pressure. The pressure increases, the equilibrium shift towards the decreasing of volume or decreasing of number of molecules or decreasing of number of moles. So the pressure increases, the equilibrium shift towards decrease of volume. Decrease of volume. Or you can take decrease of volume, you can take or decrease in number of moles. Decrease in number of moles you can take, or decrease in number of molecules. Decrease in number of molecules. Let us understand by taking an example. N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to 2NH3. Right, I am taking the number of moles. This is 1 mole, this is 3 moles, this is 2 moles, isn't it? So total number of moles, how many is there? This is 4 moles. Here is total number of moles, how many? How many moles? 2 moles. Total number of moles is 2. So the shift of equilibrium towards which direction? Here pressure increases, decreasing number of moles. So number of moles here is 4, here is 2. The shift of equilibrium towards this direction. The reaction is forward direction. Forward direction. The shift of equilibrium towards forward direction. Even it can take in terms of volume. So 1 mole is equal to 22.4 at STP, 22.4 liters. So 4 into 22.4 liters in terms of volume. In terms of volume, so 4 into 22.4 liters. So I am taking this one, 4 into 22.4 liters. And here is 2 into 22.4 liters. 2 into 22.4 liters. So here is number of moles is decreases, here volume also is going to get decreases. The shift of equilibrium towards decreasing the number of volume, number of moles, or decreasing of volume and decreasing number of molecules. Let us take one more example. This is example 1. I am taking another example for better understanding. I am taking PCl5. PCl5 gives rise to PCl3 plus Cl2, isn't it? So here is 1 mole. Here is 1 mole. Here is 1 mole. Here is what? 1 mole. So total number of moles how many is? 2 moles. 2 moles. Here is how many total number of moles? Nothing but 1 mole. In terms of volume, 1 mole is equal to, in terms of volume is equal to, V is equal to 22.4 liters. Here is how much? 2 into 22.4 liters. So in terms of volume, number of moles decreasing side this side. So number of moles decreasing this side, volume 2 into 22.4, here is 22.4. This is also number of volume also decreasing this side. So the equilibrium shift towards backward direction. Backward direction. So when the pressure increases, decreasing of volume or decreasing the number of moles or decreasing the number of molecule side, equilibrium is going to get shifted. Next, second case, decreasing of pressure. Decrease of pressure. When the pressure is decreases, opposite we have to take increasing of volume, or increase of number of moles or increase of number of molecules. Increase of number of molecules. Let us take an example. Same equation I am taking. N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to 2NH3. Isn't it? So this is a gas and this is also a gas. So here is a total number of moles. How many is there? 4 moles. This total number of moles how many? 2 moles. So pressure is decreases, then increasing number of moles side equilibrium is going to get shifted. The reaction towards backward. So reaction becomes backward. Opposite we have to get. So take in terms of volume also, so 4 into 22.4. Here is 2 into 22.4. So decreasing volume which direction? This direction. The equilibrium moves towards backward direction. Same example, second, PCl5 gives rise to PCl3 plus Cl2. Here number of moles how many is there? 1 mole. Here number of moles, total number of moles how many is there? 2 moles. So 2 moles to 1 mole. So decreasing the pressure, increasing of volume, increasing number of moles. So the equilibrium shift towards this direction. Opposite to here we will get here. So opposite we got here. So the here is we will get backward. Here we can take volume also, increasing volume. So this is 22.4 liters. This is 2 into 22.4 liters. So equilibrium shift towards more number of moles or increasing more number of moles or increasing volume or increasing number of molecules. This is the effect of pressure. Next, effect of temperature change. Here two conditions we have. One is endothermic reactions. Endothermic reactions. So we discussed the effect of temperature change in detail in the value of equilibrium constant. The value of equilibrium constant depends upon temperature. We explained in detail by using a Want half equation. So here endothermic reactions nothing but delta H is equal to positive. Delta H is equal to positive. That means heat absorbed. Heat is absorbed, isn't it? Then equilibrium constant K is directly proportional to temperature. So temperature increases, so equilibrium constant is going to get increases for endothermic reactions. The second one is exothermic reactions. Exothermic reactions. In the case of exothermic reactions, delta H is equal to negative. Delta H is equal to negative. That means heat evolved. Heat is evolved. So K is inversely proportional to temperature. K is inversely proportional to temperature. For exothermic reactions, K is inversely proportional to temperature. For endothermic reactions, K is directly proportional to temperature. So this already you know, we learned in the value of equilibrium constant depends upon temperature. We have to explain by using a Want half equation. This is a effect of temperature change. Next, effect of inert gas addition. Addition of inert gas at constant volume, there is no effect on a state of equilibrium. I am taking a vessel. This vessel contains reactants and products at equilibrium. Here volume is equal to constant. Volume is constant. So addition of inert gas at constant volume, there is no effect on state of equilibrium. So because there is no change in the partial pressures or molar concentrations of substances involved in a reaction. So this is a effect of inert gas addition. Next, fifth one is effect of catalyst. Effect of catalyst. So catalyst does not alter the state of equilibrium. The catalyst does not alter the state of equilibrium, but the catalyst speeds up the attainment of equilibrium. The catalyst does not alter the state of equilibrium, but the catalyst speeds up the attainment of equilibrium. So these are the factors affect the state of equilibrium.